What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome back. It's your boy Blue, and two Piper Arrows have released for Microsoft Flight Simulator less than a week apart. One from Carenado and one from JustFlight, and surprisingly, the competition is closer than I thought. So before you buy, let's talk about the differences so you can decide which is better for you. Let's start with the exterior modeling and textures. From a distance, you can see that there are a few variations in the models, but from this view, they are equal in quality. The real difference will be made in the details. So let's take a closer look. The team at JustFlight did a good job and it looks really good, but Carenado's use of PBR really shines here, literally. But the differences here are like buying a brand new Piper versus a used one. Carenado is giving us high resolution textures, where JustFlight has a few blurry textures in some areas up close. For example, the logo on the propeller, gear textures, and foot mat on the right wing. Speaking of wings though, Carenado did an amazing job on the wing reflections. You may also notice that JustFlight has 3 blades on the propeller instead of 2, which looks really cool on the ramp, but technically will decrease the cruise speed by a couple of knots because of the added weight. Moving to the inside, this may be my personal preference, but I really think that JustFlight really knocked it out the park here. But don't get me wrong, Carenado still brought their A game, and the leather on the seats is impressive. But JustFlight modeled their Piper from a specific real-life plane, so every scratch, smudge, or imperfection has been replicated. Even the left side of the yoke is worn because a real PA-28 pilot flies with his left hand. So very nice attention to detail there. Alright, next let's compare some of the special features. Alright, JustFlight's version features a co-pilot on the interior, which is pretty cool. That's our friend Amelia. We'll turn her off here for a second while we show everything else off. But that's a special feature by JustFlight, so we'll click on that to disable her. So now she's gone. Also on the EFB, you see we have the chocks, the tie downs, the tow bar, cabin door, baggage door, oil door. All that stuff is also in the Carenado version, except for the oil door. You can actually hear that has a sound, and there is the oil door popping open. If I click that again, it'll close. Just like that. Obviously, we can open the doors up with our mouse, or we can use the button by hitting the latches here. And boom. And the sound also leaks in as it should, so go ahead and lock that on both sides. Next, we have aircraft options. So auto fuel selected is always nice if you're not paying attention, but it's good to kind of have it off for good practice, but you know, it'll help you. They have 3 different GPSs. Right here, I have the GNS 430. If I click on this, it'll switch to 530. And then the GPS 100, which is this right here. Pretty interesting. You can also turn on and off state saving. So if you're not interested in your battery, having to recharge your battery or refill your oil, you can turn off state saving, and it'll do that. I also believe if you exit the plane or exit back to the main menu, like with certain things turned on, it'll stay like that in state saving mode. I believe that's how it works. Also, HSI is enabled. This is HSI right here. If you click on that, DI is enabled now. I personally prefer the HSI, but you do have the choice to do either or. Next, we have the yokes. You can hit that here, left and right yoke, but you don't have to do that. You can actually just click on it yourself. So either way, it's good to go. While we're down here though, all the buttons, every single button in the cockpit works. All of them are clickable, all of them are simulated, even the circuit breaker. So for example, I turn the fuel pump on. You hear the fuel pump is on. If I go down here to the fuel pump circuit breaker, which is right here, it turns it off. So all these are actually working. So if your landing lights are not on, or your overhead lights are not on, or something like that, just check and make sure your circuit breaker is in, especially your landing gear one. That's very, very important. We can also go over here to the autopilot area. You see, it has a very simple autopilot. A lot of Pipers, the ones I've been to in real life, don't have an autopilot at all. But this one has a very simple one. Basically, autopilot on, roll control, heading mode, and there's a secret altitude hold up here. If you click on the Piper logo, you see it says altitude hold disabled. If you click on it, altitude hold enabled. So again, it's not like modeled, but it's kind of like a secret one. But right here is all the different navigation modes. So navigation, omni, heading, and so on. So there you go. Even the ELT over here, the emergency locator transmitter switch, actually works. So there you go. So every single button in this cockpit, in this interior, is clickable. All right, in the Carenado version, we have the EFB, or the iPad, actually on the yoke itself, which is a pretty cool placement of it. I like it. You have a lot of the same stuff here: static elements, external power, tow bar, the show and hide the pilot or co-pilot. That's actually only for the external view. Down here, co-pilot door, you can open and close it by clicking here, and the baggage door is the same. You can actually open up the door by just going over here and clicking on the black lever, and it opens up. It's only one click, so it's a simplified version compared to JustFlight's. You click there, and it closes back. As you can heard, the sound from the outside starts to bleed in. Same thing with the window. Very nicely done. Again, same thing happens with JustFlight's version. We also have the sunshades here. Again, same thing as JustFlight. So you can turn off the yokes by clicking here or clicking on the iPad. So there you go. Both sides do that. Also, the circuit breakers are not clickable in this version. Matter of fact, they actually look like they're all open, which is funny. There's a few buttons here around here that are not clickable. Honestly, the essential stuff is all there that you need. The stuff that you can't click is really not essential to you flying the plane, but just letting you know. Also, there's a bit of I guess a more typical autopilot in here. You have the heading, nav, altitude hold, vertical speed, all that stuff like that. That works pretty fine. And then we have the transponder over here. And then the EOT is actually over here on the right side, which it does work. All right, we're gonna line up on the runway here in Sky Harbor in Carenado's version of the PA-28 to see how she flies, how she takes off, how she handles, and we'll land right back here. So entering the runway. You can hear as we turn from left to right, you can hear kind of like the seats shaking. It's kind of like a default sound for Carenado. They use the same sound in all of their add-ons. So let's go ahead and go power forward, full power. Using some rudder to stay on the center line. Airspeed's alive. There's 40. Some left rudder. Here comes 60, looking for 65. And 65. Taking quite a bit of back pressure to get us off the ground right there, and it kind of pops up. It's kind of weird. All right, gears coming up. I can make a left traffic here. Flaps coming up as well. Tell you, this is a beautiful plane. It really is. All right, I'm gonna put this plane through a few tests, starting with the classic stall. That's the gear horn. So you can see the gear horn actually comes on right around, said I think that's 15 manifold pressure. Yep. So drop the gear down. You can already hear the stall warning horn coming on about 60 knots. Holding it back, holding it back. You see the buffet right there? It's shaking and it brakes. Very aggressive stall actually. Alright, so there it is. Gears already down, flaps are actually already full right on the glide slope. Slowing down pretty nicely, actually. Around 65 knots or so. We'll bring the power back in. It's not too windy. It flies pretty nice at its slow speeds, I'll say that much. Feels really nice. Really smooth, controllable. A little bit of wind out of the right side there. A little fast. Got a little slippery there towards the end. Now we're gonna have a big float here. Big float, and we're down. I used half the freaking runway. Alright, now we're using manual braking. And alright, let's try the JustFlight. Alright, entering the runway in the JustFlight Piper 28. Has a bit different sounds. And full power. Using the rudder, stay on the center line. A lot faster to get up to speed. There's 65, and we'll rotate early. Oh yeah, there we go. Very smooth rotation. Gear is coming up. And we'll do left traffic. Alright, we're gonna test her out with a stall first. Power off stall, so power's coming off. There's the gear horn. And flaps coming down. Pulling the stick all the way back. There's 60. There's the stall horn, and it very subtly brings itself down. Bring it power and save it. So not as aggressive as Carenado. Alright, we're coming in, and one thing I've already noticed is taking a lot more throttle to maintain speed in JustFlight's version rather than Carenado. Start coming back on the power now. We're right on red, just below the glide slope now. Just below it. But yeah, with the gear down and the flaps down, there's a bit more power needed in JustFlight's version. Alright, here we come. Let's keep it out of the drink. Again, the Piper kind of feels, or I should say JustFlight's feels a little bit heavier than Carenado's. Carenado felt really, really light. Right, a bit of a float there, bring it down, and we're down. Bit of a bounce, but we're down. Not too bad. Again, the plane feels really good to fly. I'll say that. It feels different. The two planes definitely feel different to fly, but not horrible, especially on the landing config. Alright, power, manual braking now. And she stops very nicely. There we go. One more thing I would like to show you guys, which I think is incredible as like a bonus in the JustFlight version. If you get the power full forward, holding the brakes right now, I will pull the yoke all the way back, let go. Listen to that tail strike. That's amazing. That's amazing. Both aircraft sound pretty good, but I prefer the sounds from the JustFlight PA-28. A lot of Carenado's sounds are noticeably recycled from their previous add-ons, which makes it sound generic. JustFlight's sounds are very authentic with custom sounds implemented for every little detail. Carenado is going to be the cheaper option. It's still a really good add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but JustFlight takes it to the next level. Sadly, to keep this video short, I had to cut out a lot of details, so check back here for my detailed review on each of these planes. Hopefully I could help, and until next time, remember you have 3 choices: give up, give in, or give it all you got. Peace, love, and God bless you. I'll see you guys next time, next video. I'm out.